Good morning, painters. Let's warm up. We're going to do 3 of each of these nice and slow, starting with knee circles. 1, 2, 3 in one direction, 3 in the other direction. Hip circles are next. Nice and strong through the center. Focused on movement in the hip socket, keeping the spine nice and neutral. There's 3 in one direction. 2, 3 in the other direction. Shoulder rolls, squeeze up, squeeze back, squeeze down through the front. There's 2, 3, other direction. There's 3, wrist rolls, loose fist on the ends of our arms. 1, 2, 3, back the other way. 1, 2, 3, more on wrists at the end. High pull, elbows coming high, upper back active to palms out, squeezing shoulders down, neck feels long. High pull, palms out. There's 3 arm swings. We're going to stretch up tall, swing arms back and forth. Take some deep breaths. Expand the belly, try to release any tension in the belly on a couple breaths. 3 breaths here, big breaths. We're going to take that to crisscross applesauce. Again, 3 big breaths, filling the belly, allowing the shoulder blades to swing back and together. And with feet right under the hips, we're going to take a deep breath in, stretching up tall. Exhale, catch ourselves with the legs right back to stretch up tall. There's 2. There's 3. Continue with our PVC. We have our PVC, holding the PVC fairly wide, stand up nice and tall. We're going over, all the way to the low back and back over. Wide enough grip, we can stay long and extended out through the hands and keeping the shoulders nice and neutral. There's 2, there's 3. Pass through. There's windmills are next. One arm comes up and over, low back. Other arm comes up and over, back to front. There's 1 full set. Over, 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 over. There's 2. We can walk our hands a little bit narrower if we need a little bit more stretch. Still want to make sure that we can keep elbows nice and straight, shoulders relatively neutral. So if elbows are bending, walk those hands wider. Push-pull, slightly narrower grip. Pushing out long, shoulders come forward. Pulling, activating upper back, elbows stay squeezed in. Pause on each end. There's 2. Pull. 3. Pull. We're going to do that same thing, up and down. Forearms stay vertical, pressing towards overhead. Pulling back down. 1, 2, 3. Squeezing those shoulders down. Next, we're going to set our PVC upright, both hands at the top. Setting the hips back. Traction through the back. Bending one knee, pushing opposite hip out. Or stretch on that side. Same thing, other side, bending one knee, pushing opposite hip back. There's 1, same thing again. breathing into the stretch. There's 2. There's 3. Good mornings are next, stretching up nice and tall through the top of the head, butt tight, front tight, holding tension in the front through a good morning. Hips reach back first, knees press out a little bit towards the pinky toes second, following that down to the stretch zone, nice and slow, squeezing back up just to neutral. There's 1. Good morning. 2 good mornings. 3 good mornings. We're going to do some lockouts. So we're going to stay down at the bottom of the good morning, and then we're bending the legs, straightening the legs. Bend, straighten. Just do this for 3 long breaths, thinking about activating the quads in that lockout. We can do more of a forward fold. Also, a couple breaths here, filling up the belly. Just 2 big breaths, and 1 more big breath. Rolling up. Get ready for our squat. Slightly wider stance. Butt tight, front tight. We're going to hold tension through the front. Hips go back first, knees press out second. Squeezing hips down to the bottom of the squat. Squeezing back up just to neutral. Reset at the top. Hips back, knees out. There's 2. Last one. Hips back first. Squeeze up at the top. We're going to do a few squat blocks. So heading back down to the bottom of our squat, holding onto the feet or shins as you like, squeezing all the way up with the hips, squeezing back down into the squat. From the squat, we're going to go into a down dog and press out through the calves. So 1 heel down, other heel down. 3 on each side. We can do this elevated as well if that down dog doesn't feel that great. And we can also work on the big toe, so pressing the ball of foot in as the knee presses forward, stretching through the big toe on each side. Take your time, at least 3 on each side. Again, elevated or from the floor, down dog. And then low lunge switches, stepping 1 foot up, squeezing long, tailbone out to the top of the head, lifting hips, other side. Taking a breath. There's 1 each side. There's 2 each side. We can do these elevated as well. Each side. Coming back to standing, stretch up tall, butt tight, front tight. We're going to lift a knee and then slow motion twist towards that side, staying really nice and vertical. Lifting knee, rotate to that side. There's 1 each side. Lots of core activation. Balance. There's 2 each side, thinking about stretching up tall through the top of the head. Last one. And then some easy butt kickers. More if you have time. All right, more in-depth mobility stuff. We have the 3-fur. We're gonna smash our forearm using the back of the knee. So I'm getting my forearm tucked in there, squeezing forward, so hamstrings and calf are smashing, forearm just behind the wrist, opening and closing the hand. I can do a few there. I can also press the hand open a few times with the other hand. Sometimes this feels better to people on the other side. Might be more accessible. Play around with that. We can move up the forearm, continuing with that open and close and movement through range of motion. This is also helping to expand the knee. So some of that on each side. Another possibility for forearm is laying the forearm on the floor, putting the opposite knee on the forearm for some pressure, and moving that from the wrist all the way up the forearm to the elbow, taking as much time as feels appropriate. And we can do some wrist stretches. So from this tabletop position, fingers pointed forward, leaning back. We can change the direction of the fingertips. We can do some side to side or circles. Can also flip the hands for palms up, get a little stretch back the other direction. Neck. I'm going to take and interlace fingers behind the back, palms of the hands coming together, and think about pulling my chest open here. From there, just doing some neck nodding with the head tilted to the side might be enough. We can also take both hands, lock them in on one hip, and then squeezing elbows together. I'm going to take ear towards that same side, and then do a slow nod to get through the neck. Probably trying to do about 2 minutes of this on each side would be helpful. So switching sides would look like this. Other palms coming to the other side. Stand up tall, shoulders neutral, squeezing, elbow back. Same side, ear to shoulder as hands are on hip. Slow nod. Again, 2 minutes per side would be ideal. But again, just hands in the middle of the back, shoulders pulled down and back with some neck circles might be enough. Glute stretch, figure four glute stretch. Starting with legs up the wall, I have about 6 inches from my tailbone to the wall. I'm gonna cross 1 foot over as I bring my heel down. So this shin is parallel. It slightly lifts my tailbone. I'm gonna take a deep breath into my belly. And then on an exhale, I'm actively pressing my tailbone back down to the floor. I can also press this knee out. I can also place my hand here and actively press against that with my knee. Breath in, breath out, squeezing tailbone down. Maybe we're looking at 5 or 6 breaths on one side, aiming for 2 minutes. Same thing on the other side. Other ankle crosses above knee. Slight lift in the tailbone. Deep breath in. Exhale, actively squeezing back down. Have a great day at work.